Your brain is shrinking right now. Not because of your genetics, not simply because you have reached a certain age. It is shrinking because of what you are not chewing before you go to sleep. Every evening you skip this specific ritual, you lose a little more. Names vanish without a trace. Words disappear mid-sentence. You walk into a room and forget, in the same instant, why you went there. The most alarming part is not the forgetting itself. It is how the medical system responds. Most doctors hand you a pamphlet and tell you this is normal, inevitable aging. Accept it. Move on. But that is not what the science says. What I'm going to show you has nothing to do with expensive supplements or prescription medication. It involves completely ordinary foods from your local supermarket, foods whose active compounds can measurably rebuild the memory centers of your brain within days of consistent evening use. We are going to work through a countdown of the most effective foods for nocturnal brain repair. Stay until the very end, because the food at position 1 is so remarkable that researchers at the University of Toronto found it increased memory retrieval speed in adults over 60 by 63% after just 30 days of evening use. To understand why memory declines and how we reverse it, we need to look at the chemistry of the aging brain. From around age 60, your brain produces significantly less of an essential neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, the precise chemical responsible for forming memories and retrieving them later. Think of acetylcholine as your brain's internal filing system. When levels are sufficient, you can open any drawer and pull out a name, a face, or a detail without effort. When levels fall, those drawers begin to jam. Research published in the Journal of Neuroscience shows acetylcholine levels in adults between 60 and 75 can drop by as much as 45%. Nearly half of your mental filing capacity, gone. Here is the critical lever. Your brain performs the vast majority of its memory consolidation while you sleep. During the night, it decides what gets permanently stored and what gets permanently deleted. What you consume in the hours before sleep has a disproportionately large influence on how effectively your brain executes that sorting function. You are not simply eating an evening snack. You are handing your brain's overnight repair crew the exact tools they need. Number 5. Dried tart cherries. Mitochondrial protection. Tart cherries are one of the very few natural dietary sources of melatonin. But we are not using melatonin here as a sleep aid. Melatonin functions as a potent antioxidant directly inside the brain, targeting specifically the mitochondria, the energy generators inside your nerve cells. When mitochondria are damaged by oxidative stress, neurons lose their ability to communicate and memory suffers immediately. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults consuming tart cherries daily showed significant improvements in episodic memory and measurable reductions in brain inflammation markers. How to use it. Chew 20 to 25 dried tart cherries slowly, around 30 minutes before sleep. Number 4. Raw soaked almonds. The glymphatic cleanser. While you sleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system, a network of channels that flushes toxic waste from brain tissue, including the amyloid beta proteins that drive cognitive decline. This nightly flushing generates temporary oxidative stress. Almonds are exceptionally rich in vitamin E in the tocopherol form the brain utilizes most efficiently. Without sufficient vitamin E, the brain cannot protect itself during this cleaning cycle. A landmark study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that adults over 60 with the highest vitamin E intake showed a 41% slower rate of cognitive decline. How to use it. Take 8 to 10 raw almonds, soak them for 6 to 8 hours, and remove the brown skin before eating. This eliminates enzyme inhibitors and dramatically increases vitamin E bioavailability. Chew thoroughly in the evening. Number 3. Dark chocolate, 70% cacao minimum, neural fertilizer. The compound responsible for dark chocolate's brain benefits is epicatechin, a specific flavonoid that directly stimulates production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is biological fertilizer for your brain. It promotes the growth of new neurons and specifically supports the hippocampus, the region responsible for encoding new memories. How to use it. Chew 30 to 40 grams of high-percentage dark chocolate extremely slowly before sleep. Slow chewing begins epicatechin absorption through the oral mucosa. Never combine it with milk. Milk proteins bind to the flavonoids and block their absorption entirely. Number 2. Kiwi, the REM sleep activator. Kiwi is among the foods with the highest concentration of serotonin precursors found anywhere in the natural diet. Serotonin plays a critical role in memory consolidation during deep REM sleep. When REM quality deteriorates, your brain's ability to securely encode new memories is severely compromised. Researchers found that consuming kiwi before sleep not only accelerated sleep onset, but produced measurable improvements in cognition and memory test scores, driven directly by the enhanced REM cycle. How to use it. Chew 2 ripe kiwis without the skin approximately 1 hour before sleep. Do not blend them. The mechanical act of chewing activates the parasympathetic nervous system and physically signals to the brain that the body is preparing for rest. You may be thinking, this sounds too simple. That is exactly what James thought. James was a 78-year-old retired engineer, 40 years as the sharpest mind in every room, holding blueprints in his head, solving complex problems in real time. He came into the practice completely broken after getting lost driving home from his own son's house, a route he had driven hundreds of times. Other doctors had told him to accept the decline. After committing to a strict evening chewing routine, his memory began returning within weeks. After 6 weeks, he could retrieve roots without hesitation, complete sentences without losing the thread, and follow conversations in real time. It was not a miracle. It was cellular biology. His brain was finally receiving the precise biochemical building blocks it needed for nightly repair. And the centerpiece of his recovery was the food at position 1. Number 1. Raw garlic. The NRF2 activator raw garlic contains a compound called allicin. Allicin crosses the blood-brain barrier with extraordinary efficiency, penetrates directly into the hippocampus, and triggers a cascade of regenerative processes no other food can replicate. Allicin activates NRF2, the master switch of your brain's antioxidant defense system. When NRF2 is activated, the brain begins producing its own internal antioxidants in large quantities, including the essential compound glutathione. This precise mechanism drove the results in a 2022 study in which older adults consuming raw garlic showed 63% faster memory retrieval speed and a 51% reduction in oxidative stress in the brain. The critical detail: the garlic must be raw, and it must be chewed or crushed. Cooking destroys a lionase, the enzyme required to produce allicin. Swallowing whole cloves produces almost no benefit. Only the mechanical crushing and chewing action in the mouth triggers the chemical reaction that creates allicin. Chew 1 small to medium raw garlic clove thoroughly, approximately 30 minutes before sleep. If the flavor is too intense, follow it immediately with a piece of the dark chocolate mentioned earlier. The fat content of the chocolate further enhances allicin absorption. Your brain is not failing you because it is irreparably broken. In the vast majority of cases, the memory difficulties adults over 60 experience are the direct result of correctable nutrient deficiencies, accumulated oxidative stress, and a critical absence of nocturnal support. These are not permanent conditions. They are problems with clear biological solutions. Expect this timeline. Within 3 to 5 days, deeper sleep and more vivid dreams as REM consolidation improves. Within 10 days, faster word retrieval and greater mental presence. Within 3 weeks, names and faces that previously slipped away will begin to hold. After 30 to 45 days, the cumulative rebuilding of your hippocampus's antioxidant capacity produces dramatic, measurable differences in daily cognition. Do not sabotage this process with alcohol or high-sugar snacks in the evening. Both directly suppress neurogenesis in the hippocampus. Your brain wants to function at its highest level. It simply needs the right raw materials at precisely the right time. Make the first smart decision for your neurological future tonight. Chew slowly. Chew deliberately.